We are finally getting down to the last couple of parts for our Attica Bronco build, and I gotta say the Bronco is looking really good so far. Now today we have the Attica Terra series rear bumper for the 21 and up Ford Bronco, and this is really going to complete the kit and set off that final look of our Bronco. Now just like every other Attica part, when we go to install this, there's going to be no modifications needed. It's simply just take the old bumper off and bolt on the new bumper. Now just like our front bumper, the rear bumper is going to have two recovery points down here. You can end up putting a shackle in these so you can end up getting out of any situation when you're stuck on the trail. Also, something that's similar to the front bumper, this is actually made out of the exact same material. So this is going to be a 6-gauge steel, and this is going to be very, very durable. So if you end up hitting it off any obstacles, there's more than likely not going to cause any damage to it. And just like every other piece in this kit, it's finished with this powder coated black, and it looks absolutely amazing, but is going to also add some protection to the bumper itself. Now, one thing I want to show you guys that's way different than any other aftermarket bumper on the Bronco market is the fact that these are going to have built-in lights. Now, these lights are going to work for extra brake lights and extra turn signals, and it should look really good with our front tier side steps. One more thing I want to point out, just like our front bumper, the rear bumper is going to be modular as well. So we can end up adding the Attica end caps, which you guys will see in another video very shortly. But let's go ahead and get this bumper thrown on the Bronco so we can see how it looks with all the rest of the Attica parts, and we can check out how these lights look. Before we jump into today's install, if you have any questions about the tools that we're using, check out cjponyparts.com/tools or click the link in the corner of the video for a free video and PDF file showing you what tools you should have and how to use them properly and safely. So to start off this install, we got to remove the rear factory bumper, and to do so, we got to remove a 13mm bolt on each side of the bumper first. We're now going to remove the two 18mm bolts that are on the tow hooks on either side of the vehicle. Now before removing the entire bumper, there's going to be a wire connector on either side of the bumper. You're going to want to disconnect both sides so that way the bumper can pull off and you don't end up getting it caught up on any wiring. Push down on the clip, pull the connector out, and you're good to go. Just make sure you do it on the opposite side as well. At this point, we have the wiring harness disconnected and all the hardware removed. And if you have a spare tire, go ahead and remove that as well. And if you have a friend, ask them to help you out with this bumper. It can be a little heavy, but just go ahead and remove it. So I got our factory bumper on the table here, and that's because we actually have to remove all of these inner panels here to be able to get the wiring harness out to transfer over to our new Attica bumper. So there's about 19 15mm bolts in here. So just start removing them all and then we'll get the harness out. After you remove the crusty harness from the factory bumper, go ahead and install it onto your new Attica bumper. So before we put our new bumper on, we actually have to put these plates in the frame rails. Now what you're going to do is you're simply just going to slide it in, make sure the nut there is on the inside of the frame rail, line it up with the hole, and do this on either side. Once you do this, go ahead and grab the bumper and the hardware that's in the kit. If you have a friend, definitely have them help you put on this bumper. This thing is no joke, it's super heavy, but essentially we're just gonna line this up. Okay. Once you get it lined up, throw the bolt in the side of it over here. Next step, you're gonna grab these reinforcement plates that are also provided in the kit, and then the factory tow hook hardware. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna put these where the tow hooks were, use the factory hardware to tighten them down, and then you're good to go. All right, so it's now time to wire up our brake lights and turn signals on the Attica bumper, and to do so, we actually have to use the Attica wiring harness, which attaches to the taillight harness. Now to do that, we have to remove the fender flares. We already have our Attica Terra series fender flares on here, so if you want to see how to install and remove these, I'll leave the link to the video down in the description below. But one thing to do while we're here, take our factory wiring harness so all of our sensors work, and plug that back in. Because might as well do it while we're here. All right, so like I said, it's time to wire up the brake lights and turn signals that are on the Attica bumper to the Bronco. They make this super, super easy. If you guys have been following along in this series, then you would know that already from the Frontier side steps. So this is one of the Attica wiring harnesses. Basically, you would take off your taillight, unplug the factory connector that goes to your taillight, and plug it into this plug on the Attica harness. And then from there, you would take this plug in the Attica harness and plug it onto your factory taillight. From there, that's basically a jumper harness so that your taillight and all those features still work, but then it also feeds signal to the brake lights that are going to be on the bumper and the lights that are on the Frontier side steps. Now, since I've already installed the Frontier side steps, I have one of their harnesses already connected to our taillight harness. So all I have to do at this point is grab the harness that goes to the lights on the bumper, connect them, and then connect this end to the Attica wiring harness that I already have in our Bronco. So again, this is one of the connectors on the Attica harness that's tied in with our factory harness to the taillight. This is the harness going to the brake light on the bumper, and we're simply just gonna connect that. And before I put everything back together, we'll make sure the light works quick. So as you can see, our turn signal is working. And then if I shut that off and press the brake pedal, the light should light up then with our brake lights. As you can see, the lights are working. So at this point, I can put everything back together on this side, and then we can repeat the exact same process on the opposite side. One of the last things we need to do is put our new license plate mount on, and we can do that with the hardware that's provided in the kit. Well, we're all wrapped up with the install of our Attica Terra series rear bumper, and this thing looks absolutely killer on the Bronco. It really matches well with the rest of our Attica products, and the best part about it is the install was pretty easy, honestly. If you give yourself about an hour, you'll be able to knock this bumper out no problem. Now, also, besides it being an easy install, there's no modifications needed when installing this bumper, so that's a very big plus in my opinion. Now, if you want to purchase any of the Attica products, we'll have a link down below in our description, but it is time to drop a gear and disappear. Don't forget to turn on the post notifications so that way you can see when we upload.